Hey hi everyone, this is Mukesh Otwani from learn-automation.com. In this lecture, we are going to talk about how we can implement page object model in Serenity Framework. So in the last section, we have already seen a dedicated class which is available in Serenity Framework called page object class. But when it comes to page object model, we need to do a small change when you work with Serenity Framework. Okay, so we also talk about one separate annotation called steps and step. So the moment you start working with Serenity with page object model, it is very important to use @steps and @step annotation. So let me show you one by one. So this is what we have so far. So this is what we did. We created our first scenario with Serenity, and then we created one login test scenario where we have used the page object. Now let's create one more scenario, and this time we are going to create a page object model. We are going to implement page object model where we will have a test scenario. We will have the pages as well. So for that, let me create another test, and this time maybe I can copy paste the same scenario because we are going to make few changes. So I will say this is the login uh, application with page object or with page object. Okay, so now what we need to do, first of all, this is exactly what we need to do. First of all, we have to use this managed where we can get the WebDriver reference. Okay, and now I'm going to remove this. Okay, let's do one thing. Let me create everything from the scratch so that you should not get confused. Because if you're following this video from the scratch, okay, and if you have not watched my previous videos, then you will not understand this. So let me create everything from scratch. I'm creating a class, and this time I will say login application with page object. And I'm not taking public static void main because we need to run this with Serenity Framework. So first of all, I will annotate this class with run with, and here we are going to use Serenity runner dot class. Second thing, we need the WebDriver reference, right? So the moment is a WebDriver driver, and this is going to come from Serenity. So we are going to use one separate annotation called managed, okay, and this will maintain that WebDriver instance, plus it will also maintain before test and after test. It will start the browser and will close the browser. So this managed annotation will take care of closing and starting the browser. Now let me create the test. So let's say public void login as admin. This is what the test is. I want to log into this application as a admin credential. So if you see this particular application, okay, when I log in with admin username and password, I will be navigated to the dashboard. So here first of all I have to deal with home page. This is the home page, right? Now in home page I have this login section. So I'm going to create a home page class. Okay, right now we have not created, so I will show you a different way how you can create class directly from here. So I'm assuming that we have to create one home page class, and the reference will be home. And right now there's no class, right? So in Eclipse we have a feature. If this class does not exist, Eclipse will ask you, do you want to create this as a class? So you can, yes, you can directly create a class from Eclipse, and you can also tell in which package you want. So right now you can see it has one package called test cases. So I can go ahead and say that I don't want in this package. So you can create a fresh package, and this package name I will give as let's say hrm.pages. So this is orange hrm application, so I have given hrm.pages. Okay, and now this home page class does not exist, so I will say go to this particular package and create this class. That's all. So you will see this page, sorry, this class created, and now we have to use this class. This is actually our test. So I will say @test, and now we can continue with the scenario. So now if you notice, we can directly say driver.get, and then we can continue with username, password, login button, and everything. But since we are following page object model here, we need to create methods inside this, right? But there's a small twist here. The moment you start working with Serenity, okay, you need to use two more annotations this time. So let's say if you're working with homepage, then here you need to use one separate annotation called steps. Okay, this steps is coming from again Serenity packages, and if you put mouse over on this annotation, so what it does, it will mark a class that implement test steps as individual methods. Okay, try to repeat this again. It will mark that class that implement test steps as an individual method. So each and every step will be a separate method. Okay, and if you have multiple pages, all the pages should have @steps annotation. I will show you one by one. So for the time being, let's say we have only one page called home page. So we need to use one @steps, and now we need to create multiple methods here. Okay, these methods will do some sort of activity. So in this class, we have to create now methods. Now each method will be a separate step. If you are doing 500, activity or 50 activity, you can convert them into a step. So just stay with me. Once you get the report, you will understand the importance of this step. For the time being, just follow what I'm doing and try to implement the same thing. So when you do log into this application, you have certain activities, right? You need to log into the application by entering username, password, click on login button. So let's do one thing. Let's create one method. This method will simply verify the title first of all. This is one method which is verifying the title. Second thing, I want to enter username, password. So I will say enter credentials. Okay. Second thing, or let's say third thing, I want to verify after entering the credential, do we have dashboard keyword or do we have admin after login? So I will say verify dashboard. Now these are the three methods I have created inside homepage, and now each method is a separate step. Okay, so this is very important, guys. When you went back to your main class, here we use steps because this home page will have multiple steps, but when you go to home page, each method will be a separate step. So just use @step for each and every method, and you will find the same steps in your reports as well. Okay, so I will be using this step, and you can also get description about each step. Okay, so let's say I will say this step will verify the title, and second step you also can give the description that this step will allow us to log into application, and the last one you can say that this will verify the dashboard. For the dashboard. Now within this methods, now you have to write all the activities. So the guys, this is again we have created abstraction. Okay, we have created a layer. Now if you go back to their official documentation, if you come under Serenity fundamentals, and if you see this step library, so why this step library is required? So in Serenity, a complex test or the complete test we can break down into reusable steps. So that's what we are doing. We are breaking complete test case into small reusable steps, and we will be using them. So this is a home. Okay, so this page is only containing the steps. Now what about the implementation? What about the methods that we need to write? For that we are going to create a separate page. So you will be getting confused that why we need one more page, because we already created a home page. So guys, this home page is only for the steps, but the actual implementation we need to write in a different pages. So for that I will create, let's say, another page called Orange HRM home page. This is the actual page where we need to write all the implementation. Okay, and let's say within this I'm going to write few methods. So this is the main page where we have to deal with all the data, right? So let's see, the first method which I want to write is public void verify title. Okay, so this particular method we will call into this particular home page. And the second method we will write public void enter username. Third method I will write enter password. And maybe I can directly do this, enter username password. That's all. And once we are done, we will also verify. So I will say public void verify login. Like after verification, are we getting admin and dashboard or not? So I created three methods, and these three methods I will be calling in this home page. So this home page is going to deal with this orange HRM page. So the first step which I need is I need to include this orange HRM, and I will say this, let's say home, and I will say home dot, first of all, verify title, home dot enter username password, and again I will say home dot verify login. Okay guys, now these steps or these methods are empty as of now. We have not filled any data, so let's go ahead and fill the data. Now if I want to capture the title, right, first of all I need the driver, then only I can capture. So this particular page is going to extend one page object that we already discussed in the last session. So this page object is coming from Serenity Framework, and this class have all the methods which we need for our test automation. Now in order to capture the title, I need driver, right? Then only I say driver or get title. So in page object there is a method called get driver. So you don't need to deal with like from where the driver is coming. You just call this method called get driver, and it is going to return your WebDriver instance, and you can now continue with get title method. Okay, so this is going to return you as a string, so I will say as a title, and this title you can now assert. So if you just say assert, okay, assert is a separate class available in JUnit which you can directly use, and I will say assert equals, where I can pass actual versus expected. So I can also use assert true, where I can give boolean condition, and the moment I log in, the title contains orange HRM, right? So if I say if title contains orange HRM, then the test should pass. So this is our first assertion. Second is enter username and password. So guys, again you can continue with web element or you can continue with web element facade. Since I have covered web element facade in my previous videos, so I will directly say dollar by dot, let's say ID, and dot send case, or I will say type method. So this is for username. Same thing I will do for password and login button. So we already have a ID for password. Guys, I'm using ID, but in case if you want to use XPath, CSS or any other locator, please go ahead and use that. Right now I'm using only ID because our main focus is on how to create the test, not on the locator part. Same thing I will do for login button, and maybe I can directly say type and enter. So we have to remove, I will say type and enter. So I will enter the credentials. Here I will say the username is admin, password is admin123. And once we are done, we need to also verify after login, do we have dashboard in the URL or not, right? So same thing I will do. I will again say get driver dot get current URL. It is going to return me as a string. So I will say current URL, and I'm going to use this same assertion here. And I will say if current URL contains dashboard, it means login is verified. Clear, guys? I'm using web element facade here in case if you want to use driver directly, you will get the driver using driver dot get driver. So in case if you directly want to use, you say get driver dot find element by id. This is also possible, so this also you can use it. And you can continue. Okay, so right now you can see this by is coming from Serenity. In case you have the same class, then you need to give the proper package name. So that's the reason it was coming a lengthy name. So the moment I say get driver dot find element by, so this by already is available, right? So I have to tell that take the by from openqa.selenium. So it will take the full name and then you can continue. Otherwise you can use the by of Serenity Framework. So we are almost done. Now finally let's cross check everything. This was our page. Okay, and we have used manage these steps. Inside this home page we have 3 steps. Each step will have proper definition, and this is the orange HRM page that we're using, which is extending home page object, and it has all the methods. Clear? Now let's go ahead and complete the test. So the first step which we need to do here is we need to provide pass the URL. If this URL is coming from your base serenity.properties file, you can directly use it, else you can pass the URL directly from here. Let me log out from this application and let me take only this part. Second step, already we have a home object, so I will say home dot first of all verify title, then I will say enter credential, and then I will say verify dashboard. Now your test is done, where you're using one page which is home page, and inside home page you have 3 steps. Inside each step we are calling one method which is coming from a different page. So let me run this, then I will draw a diagram and I will explain you again. This is very important and very interesting. So when you're done with the test, right click run as JUnit test and let's see how it behaves. Okay, so double click on the console. Let's wait. Your test started and started with Chrome. Okay, as expected it is logged in and yes, done. So you can see test passed here and you can see the result. Now the main thing which I want to highlight is using report. Okay, so what I will do, I will just go ahead and I will go to the properties and let me run this from Maven build. So again, if you see here, the test case name is login application did with page object. So I will go back to pom.xml file, and in the pom.xml file I will tell that go ahead and run this particular test case. So either I can give the full name or I can give the wildcard, but for this example let me give the complete name. So I'm going to tell that run any test which contains or which ends with application with page object.java. Okay, and one more settings that you can do in your serenity.properties file, that you can tell for each steps you want to take the screenshot. For that we have a dedicated key and value pair. Okay, so the key will be serenity dot take dot screenshot. So there's a definite dedicated key available where you can tell when you want to take the screenshot. Do you want to take the screenshot for each steps or for each action? So the value would be for each action. At this moment I want to take for each action, but in case if you want for different steps, that also is possible. So I will show you the different values which is available and which you can pass. So what I did, I simply changed the pom.xml file where I want to run only one test which ending with application to page object. I did second change with properties file. Now let me run this. So again I will go back and I will open the repository or the folder. Now let me open terminal. So I will say cd and I will just take the location. Okay, so this is the location. So I will say cd and we are already in the directory. So if you want to see, just type ls and you can see we have a pom.xml file. Now I want to run mvn clean and verify. The moment you hit enter, it will wait for a few seconds and then it will start your test. So test will remain same because we are just running in a different way. So why we are running this command? Because I want to see the report, how the report will look like when we give screenshot for each steps or action, and when we give steps library, how much impact it will make on your report. So let's wait. Okay, so test got passed and once it is done, I will go ahead. Yeah, this is actually saying build success. Okay, so test result for one test generated. Now let me go back to our project, refresh, target, site, Serenity. You will find one file called index.html file. So just open this in a web browser. So copy this, open in a separate browser. So you can see the test executed. This is the test result. When you click on login as admin, can you see this? Each and every step is coming in a report with proper screenshot. We have not done any changes in the code. We just changed one small property file that we want screenshot for each and every action, and automatically it associated screenshot for each action. Now let's go ahead and see how it is mapping this report with the code which we have written. So for this I will go back to Eclipse and let me close everything from here and let me just open login application with page object, and now this is the report. So the first thing is login as admin. So this is the test case. So this is the actual method in Java, but if you see in the report, it is coming as a separate feature. Okay, so you can see login as admin, and inside this whatever steps we have written. So this was the step, this was the step. So these are the description of the steps. So each and every step is coming here. This step will verify the title. This step will allow us to log into the application. So each step is coming in the reporting. Plus for each step, okay, now if you go back in our properties file, so what we did, for each action we want a screenshot. So it has captured the screenshot and automatically it has linked with the steps. So for title, this was the step, and these are the two screenshots because here we have two action, right? One action was, if you go back here, enter username password. So the first action was admin. When you type admin, so this is the first step, right? So the first action. Second action was type and enter. So the moment you say type and enter, this was the screenshot. So for each and every action is taking the screenshot. The last one was verify the dashboard, and this is the screenshot. So total 4 outcomes, total time it has taken. And right now the requirement tab does not have much information, but once you start working with the BDD, Cucumber or JBehave, this report will have more information. Then you will see how it is mapping all the feature file in the report. Very interesting part when it comes to Cucumber, but for the time being only focus on the scenarios. So by default it created one tag for you, and it is assuming that you have a story, and story is this. Okay, so test result, this is the feature, this is the scenario. In case if you have multiple tests, okay, so let's say you are having multiple tests here, then all these tests will be coming as a scenario. Okay, so before we end this video, let me draw a small diagram so that you should not get confused. So I'm going to draw a small picture. That first of all, what we did, we created, let's say this is our Serenity framework, and this was our test case. So in the test we have used one @steps annotation, and this was the actual test. So this was having actual test. Now for each steps, okay, let me change this to steps because this will create confusion. So this is not the step, it has steps in the main test case. And it also deals with one home page. So we created a dedicated class called home page. Okay, and let's say this is home page, and for each steps, okay, let's say home page have 3 activities or 3 methods. So each method we have are annotated with @step. So this is also one of the step, this is also one of the step, and this is also one of the step. Now we have a relation that from home, like from the main test case, we are going to call the home page. Now each and every step should also have the implementation, right? So we are not going to write implementation in this page. For this we created a dedicated class, which is nothing but again a home page. So for each method we have written a separate method here, and we have given the implementation in this particular class. Okay, so the flow will be write the test scenario, write the pages, okay, create all the steps, and finally the implementation has to be done on the different class. So this is what the abstraction they have created. And you can see for each and every step you can capture the screenshot and it will come into the report. Now you can do the same thing when you work with JBehave, Cucumber, and when you're working with REST API as well. Process will remain same. You just need to remember 2 most important annotation steps and the @ step. I hope it is clear. If it's still not clear, let me know in the comment section. Feel free to ask any question related to this, because it might look little complicated when you do it first time, but once you used to it, it is very easy. Okay, so I hope you like the video. If yes, then share with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.